Welcome to the CuppaChino Club's social TV channel. An empowered woman is someone who knows her strengths and isn't afraid to embrace it. And so now we invite you to join us as we introduce you to women in leadership, in corporates and on boards who inspire and empower others through conversation. Don't go away, we'll be right back. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Bridgetti Limbanda. I'm a live video camera confidence coach, and I host and produce live video shows. I'm also passionate about responsible social media advocacy. Today, we're introducing you to women in leadership and corporates and on boards. And my co-host is an accomplished senior executive herself. Her name is Viola Manuel, and she has been nominated for multiple awards herself. Viola, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Viola, can you just briefly, for our audience who doesn't know what the CuppaChino Club is all about, could you just give us a brief overview of how we got started?
Thank you so much, Brigitte. Yes, so CuppaChino Club started about 9 years ago. And it really started with me just getting some friends together because I recognized immediately that I just knew these amazing women, well-networked women, eloquent women in business, and some of them that were not in business. And, you know, it was just an opportunity for me to get these women together to start meeting each other and talking to each other. And so it really started off as a bit of a social platform. And then understanding the value that was in that room immediately inspired me to start the CuppaChino Club and say, how is it that we can put this this power in this room to more, you know, to good use? And so we started the CuppaChino Club, and we ended up last year starting a WhatsApp group where we were just all helping each other, job opportunities, nannies, you know, just opportunities in terms of I need to buy a new car, you know, just really good practical advice that we needed. And that really started taking off. Having one of those little get-togethers inspired me when one of the women was saying, you know, if years ago we had somebody just handing out some good advice to us at the beginning of our careers, we might have made different choices. And I think today's show, this whole series of shows has really been about that. It's how do we actually bring this advice to young ladies, and even some of us who are more mature, how do we bring that advice to really start influencing and impacting lives positively? And today's show, I just want to first of all thank the guests who are part of it, because they are amazing women. And it was difficult to put the show together. I don't know if you agree with that, because it's such a broad space. This whole corporate space and boards position space is it crosses different industries, it crosses different stages of your career. So, you know, we just did our best to bring a few women together who would be in a position to talk about their experience and advice.
Absolutely. And we look forward. We're going to welcome Alana Sampson. She's a cabin attendant with SAA. And also Professor Shirley Zinn. She is a senior executive on various boards, and we welcome her input. Also Deirdre Franklin Clemens. She's an oncology product consultant with Novartis. And then Annalene Saunders. She's a senior business analyst with Old Mutual. So we've got a wide variety of expertise in the audience. Shall we invite them to join us? And before I bring them on, I want to say a huge big welcome to our audience on LinkedIn. And our audience on Facebook. Know that we value your participation. We value that you're watching us live. And if you've got any questions or comments, please post them. We are watching the comments. So let's invite our guests on screen. An empowered woman is someone who knows her strengths and isn't afraid to embrace it. We invite you to join us as we introduce you to women in leadership in corporates and on boards who inspire and empower others through conversation. Good morning, ladies, and a warm welcome to each one of you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Professor Zim, I know that your time is very, very short this morning because you've got some other commitments, and we really appreciate that you've joined us. So if you all don't mind, we'd like to start asking you one or two questions while we've got you for a few minutes, if that's okay.
Thank you. Thanks very much for bearing with me.
Awesome. How did you start your career?
That is a very interesting question, and thank you. I, didn't think about, the notion of starting a career. We grew up in very difficult socioeconomic circumstances out in the Cape Flats. It was very, very tough. And my father was always talking about, please don't get stuck in this place. We know what those places are all about and the challenges. And he said, please, just try to finish your matric. That's all I'm asking you to do. And then you can go and work and augment the family, from that point of view. My mother was a lot more focused on values and values of respect, humility, hard work, excellence, and kindness, if you like. And the combination of those two things were very important throughout my life. And then, of course, when I finally got to matric, there were two teachers who sat down and said to me in June of 1979, when I was in matric, they said to me, you know what, you're not the brightest pea in the pod here, but you have the potential to do so much more. And this is the message I would like to get out to women, particularly who think that they're not able to achieve and really reach for their dreams. And I sat down and I tried to understand, what does this actually mean? You have the potential to do so much more. And they said to me, we want you to go home and talk to your parents about university. And so this is, there are lots of stories in between, but the long and the short of it was, if those teachers didn't have that conversation with me, all of a 5-minute conversation with me, I would never, ever have gone to university, and I would never be sitting here and having this conversation with you today.
What has been one of your biggest challenges in your career, getting to where you are, and what would your advice to others be that want to follow your path?
I think what has been very, very important to me is that it is very important to surround yourself with people who can uplift and inspire you. And I've always been very fortunate to, first of all, have family and friends, and now I have a husband who really rally around me in order for me to achieve, fully achieve what I can. And so even when I was studying, I had professors who got behind me. For example, when I was doing my second master's at Harvard, he said to me, we want you to do the doctoral program. You must apply and you must try and get in. We know you don't have the money, but we'll worry about that once you're in. And if it wasn't for listening to messages that, really challenged me and took me out of my, normal framework into a whole different realm that said to me, you can actually do this. And so for me, that whole concept of, I can't do, I'm very anxious, I might fail, those are real worries. And I think many women have that. Imagine what is possible if you didn't have those anxieties. Imagine the magic and the talent that could be unleashed if you were free just to, evolve and to thrive and to grow. And you have people behind you who can actually make this happen. And so for me, this energy of, trying to, complete as much academic studies as I possibly could, were drawn from people like this, and were drawn from, having a sense of purpose to say, I'm doing all of this. What do I want to, what difference and what value do I want to add to the world? Because I also want to say, we think about careers and we think about, moving up the ladder, and we think about earning more money. But it is also about the value that we bring to our families, to our communities, and to our society in general. It is really where we can make the difference. And this is the point I'm trying to make, is we've got to live our lives with meaning and purpose.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you think could have made you're an accomplished and respected businesswoman today. Is there anything that you think could have made your journey easier?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of patriarchy out there. It's alive and well. We have seen, an abundance, and we continue to see of femicide, of, violence against women and children. Despite all our efforts, this has come to a head in a very stark manner in the last few months. And I think that, a lot of women are still experiencing the effects of an ideology of patriarchy that still exists in our society and still exists in our workplaces. And the wonderful thing about the work that I've been able to do as head of HR in Nedbank, in Standard Bank, in SARS, in Woolworths, I've been, at pains to try and say we need to create organizations that are inclusive, that take into account the difficulties that women have, but women also need to be able to be in an environment where they can thrive, where I can put policies and procedures in place that will create an enabling environment and opportunities for women to thrive, where we can say no to bullying of women in the workplace, where we can say no to sexual harassment in the workplace, and run campaigns and ensure that there's consequence where those kinds of things happen. And so for me, those have been some of the big opportunities that I have been able to put into place. And so I want to remind everyone that might be listening to this, is that our values are very important, and respect is very important, and how we use our time is very important. I've learned through severe tragedy. We lost our only son in a terrible car accident in 2003, at a time when my career was absolutely flying. And I want to say to you, if you're suffering any adversity, all of us have a story. I want to say to you, and I want to encourage you that, you can work your way through it. And if you need to get help, you absolutely need to get help. You must sign up for that so that you can heal and you can move yourself forward.
Prof, a huge big thank you for your time. We absolutely value that you could spare us a few minutes. And we look forward to being able to invite you again at a future time.
Prof,
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to all of you. I would love to have stayed to listen, but I'm going to watch the webcasts when I get the opportunity. And thanks for bearing with me, all of you, and have a lovely conversation. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Prof. Bye-bye. Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. She was amazing. I want to just find out from you, Annalene, maybe you could also just tell us, how did you start your career? I mean, and I know it's an interesting story, but I think it might be something interesting to tell everybody else.
Yeah, that's true. So my story is similar in the beginning to Professor Shirley, where I grew up in a community that didn't have a lot of money. My mom was raised that when you go to school, you need to then find a job afterwards. And then I passed matric, and then my sister said, no, we can't have the cycle continue. Let's try College of Cape Town and let's see if we can get Annalene in there. An admin clerk at the College of Cape Town actually spoke to mommy and said, you know what, this girl has amazing marks. She doesn't need to be here. I'm not going to accept her application. Please go and try and see if she can get into a university. Mommy said, but there's no money. Our family doesn't have any money. Universities are expensive. And this admin clerk said, you know what? All these things will fall into place when you're at the university. As long as you can get there, you can pay your admin fee, everything will fall into place. We then were able to get the money. I was accepted into university because I did have the marks for it. And then that's where my journey started. Graduating the first member of my family to ever complete university, and to actually start breaking the cycle of finishing matric and working and not fulfilling your full potential.
Wow. Okay, Deirdre, anything from your side? How did you start your career? You were mom of 3 beautiful girls, married. Tell us, how did you start your career when you started?
Yes, so let me just take you a little bit back as to how I got to Cape Town, because I'm born in Durban, also a very conservative Indian close family. And I was accepted to do dentistry, and that's how I actually got to Cape Town. But like all girls that have been from a very sheltered background, got to Cape Town and saw the big lights, and yeah, didn't have the best of marks to go into second year. So hence me completing my BSc honors at university. And then while I was at university, because during my university years, I've always worked. I've always been involved in sales, whether it's in at Edgar's or Truett's or even on campus.
Yeah.
I used to always buy things and sell things just to make extra pocket money, because my parents could only really afford for boarding as well as my university fees. So I had to make up all the other money. And my biochemistry lecturer, I think it must have been in third year, said, "Hey, Deirdre, you're such a brilliant saleswoman. When you finish off one day, you must maybe think of looking at going into pharmaceuticals." Because I know they normally would recruit a lot of people with the science background. I didn't think much of it at that stage, and didn't even know the industry much. And when I completed my honors, fell pregnant, got married, and had the need to start working immediately, because we needed to start making a life for ourselves. And then I looked at that career, and it's been 20 years. So that's how I started. Started straight, fresh out of university with an honors degree. I joined a company at that stage called Aspen, which is now called Aspen Pharmacare, and that's how I've started my career in this industry.
Yeah, thank you. So I think the thing that's coming through for me is this whole idea that you do sometimes, as a teacher, as a career guidance counselor, as an auntie, as a sister, as somebody who's in an influential position, you sometimes just have to give them that one piece of advice. Just that one guiding comment changes people's lives. And sometimes
Absolutely.
When you see potential in somebody, when you see that they need that little bit of encouragement, actually just verbalizing that encouragement has changed all three of you as speakers, has radically changed the course of your lives. So I think that's such an important thing. I wanted to just find out from you, when did you know that, being part of a corporate was the space that you wanted to be in? I mean, we've interviewed people from NGOs, giving leadership in NGOs, in small business. And it was a very interesting discussion. We've spoken to people about, the ladies who were giving leadership in academia. So my question to you is, this space, working for such a big brand, how does that space suit you? Does it work for you? What are the things that make it a positive space for you to be in? Annalyn, let's start with you.
Okay. I think I've actually always just been in corporate. So I actually have no idea what it is to be in a small company or a startup company. But for me, corporates are just, you have a lot of room personally for me to grow and to learn and to experience different things all in a small space of time. Like I have about 7 years experience. I was able to be an intern. I was able to be just a normal person, able to be a manager. And even though it's a corporate company, I was able to advance my career in such a small space of time and learn and grow and see things that I would have never been able to see if I was at a small company. So I really enjoy being at a corporate.
Perfect. Deirdre?
So I've had the blessing or the privilege of being able to have a bit of both. So, I mean, as you know, Viola, my husband's a businessman and I've got 3 girls. So I've been blessed with the opportunity of being able to take a break from corporate when my family needed me more and be involved in the business, and hence me doing that business degree after getting the science background. So, I mean, I think initially, I wanted to always be in the medical field. I looked at medicine and dentistry and all of that. And I think stepping into the pharmaceutical industry, it allows me to exercise both my science background or my strengths in science together with my business mind, with doing the business degree. And in pharmaceuticals, it's about science plus business. And
Yeah.
I think what I love most about being in the corporate environment or working for a company such as Novartis is that we have such a robust pipeline of new drugs. And if there's any way that I could add value other than being a doctor, is basically going and sharing this new information about our new products or the new products that we're launching, and that way adding value, to the community or to the community at large. So I
Okay.
love what I'm doing. I love what I'm
Okay.
doing.
How does the two spaces differ? Because you've been part of a corporate, and then you moved on to sort of being in small business, and now you're back in
Yes.
corporate. And one of the things that I always feel is that corporate has this discipline and structure that small business maybe doesn't have. How do you feel about that? What has your experience been?
So I think corporate gives you a little bit more stability, especially, in the current socioeconomic environment that we're in. The businesses, it's 1 month you're doing well and the next month, but, there's no what kind of stability, in the profit margins that you're making. You could have a great season and then you can have a terrible season. And we've been in the hospitality industry, which is very, very, which fluctuates all the time. Whereas in corporate, it gives you stability. You do what you have to do, at the end of the day, X amount, you're earning. And I think for me, that's the major difference between corporate and having your own business. Corporate also, all the other benefits that you get with corporate, your pension fund, your medical aid, and all of that. So there are major benefits in being in corporate, rather than being in small business, or that's been my experience.
Yeah. So I know that it's such a different experience for everybody. But so you've joined this corporate. What does a typical day look like for you all? What is a typical day like? What is a typical day like for you, Deirdre? You wake up, you put on makeup, you do your hair.
Yeah. So I'm in a very, with the type of position that I have, it's very flexible. I can basically, I work around my appointments. So if I have a very early morning training to do at some hospital, then it's get up in the morning, have your cup of coffee and run out. But if I have a later morning appointment, like I have today, which is in the afternoon, then I would get up, and my typical day would be sort my daughter out, get her to school by 7:30, and then get to gym. I try my best at least 2 or 3 times to get to gym, and then come home, shower, and do admin. There's lots of admin, there's lots of background work than just sitting in the face of a doctor and talking about your product. So there's planning, admin, booking my flights, because I look after a huge territory now. And then I work to be able to get home by 4 o'clock for the latest. I always plan all my appointments around there so I could have good time, quality time with my daughter, when I fetch her from school. And then it's the normal, cooking, you become back, you go back to being mom and wife and making sure your family is sorted out from about that time. So I think I'm very blessed, I don't have a structured day. I don't have to be in office. I work from home, and I'm on the road. So I plan my day around that.
Yeah. And Nadine, what's a typical day like for you?
So I start very early in the morning because I like to be at work early and I hate traffic. So I started at about 6. And for the first 2 hours, it's mostly just admin and checking my emails, rescheduling meetings. My week is filled with meetings and workshops, so it's preparing for that, doing some research. And then my day starts with team meetings, and then actually running meetings, running workshops, doing customer journeys, very interactive, also very flexible. So even though I have a lot of meetings and workshops, which is part of my main focus, it's something different every day. So once I complete a piece of work and it goes live, it's on to the next thing. And I'm able to do multiple things all at the same time, because we have different projects, of small and big size. So it's mainly just talking to people, trying to understand what it is that they want to deliver, seeing if it's the right thing, doing research, going to branches, finding out how the actual financial consultants work. Is what they're doing conducive? Does it help the customer in any way? And then taking that information back and seeing how we can change it and make it better. both for the financial consultants at branch and also for the customers who come in.
Okay. So I think from us, our perspective, like even trying to put the show together today, it was difficult because, everybody has all these meetings in their diaries that you can't move, and you have to make sure that you're able to book time in people's diaries. And like a lot of the ladies said, great initiative. We would love to participate, but it's just, my boss has spoken and my boss has said that I need to do this, and, I need to get this done, and my boss is here this week, and so on. How do you guys feel about the comments that, working in corporate, you're always sort of beholden to a boss, and the bosses, sort of calls the shots, compared to somebody who's in small business where they sort of their own boss, and they can sort of design their day? How do you feel about that? Is it a problem? Are there days when you feel like you wish you didn't have a boss? Annalyn?
I feel like I am very lucky and very blessed in the fact that both when I was in the retail sector and in the financial services industry, I feel like the IT industry is changing, and it's changing to not be in that regard where bosses are looking at you and watching you and making sure you do what you are supposed to do. They're actually allowing you to, as long as you are delivering the desired output, whatever gets done during the day, you are self-managed. That's actually what I'm looking for. You are self-managed and it's flexible. So as long as I'm able to deliver, they are okay with whatever I do during the day and how I'm able to deliver what needs to be done. So it's very flexible. If I need to run and do something quickly, no one's going to have a problem. So I haven't had that corporate boss that's behind my back and says you must be here at lunch at 1 o'clock, or you can't go and have lunch, or you must leave at 3:30. Or I haven't had that issue, so I'm very blessed.
Awesome. I want to just
my own mini boss.
Yeah, with that personality, sister, I know. I just want to welcome Alana Sampson. Alana is a cabin attendant with South African Airways, and obviously in a completely different space. So I'm going to ask Alana. I just want to catch, get some thoughts from you. I know that you probably just need to have a breather. But for you, Alana, you've always worked in the airline industry. What has been exciting for you about being part of such a big corporate, and how does it affect who you are compared to if you had worked for a small business, for example?
Okay. First of all, ladies, good afternoon. I apologize. I'm a bit challenged when it comes to technology, but I'm working on it and I'm here. Accomplished. Okay, aviation industry, that's been my life. Not planned though. It happened one can say by accident. I then jumped at the opportunity. Airline, oh my goodness, it is very unpredictable. In the interview, I remember they told me your life will become ours, and it's the truth, So there's no routine. You could be flying to New York tonight, and then they could call and tell you flight's cancelled, but we need you for Hong Kong tomorrow. So there's nothing that is routine and that you can say, okay, this is going to happen today. It's a definite. So anything can happen in a change of minutes, hours. That's exciting. So you've got to have things like, you've got to be a very organized person. Actually, the airline taught me that. You've got to be good with your time management. Be very open-minded because of all the cultures and the different industries and people that you're going to be meeting, whether it's colleagues or passengers. So, yeah, it's never a dull moment.
Okay. So in terms of this whole discussion today, I think one of my biggest challenges was the fact that the industries are so vast. I mean, you're talking about the airline industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the financial services industry. And so you ladies are representing your industries to us today. But I think one of the things that for me, I'm trying to get across in this discussion today is that there's such huge opportunity within all these industries, and the opportunity to be part of a bigger brand family. Do you ever feel that you sometimes get lost in this big family? Do you feel that you sometimes are just a number? Because that's the other thing that people say when they exit corporate. I was just a number there. I didn't, nobody appreciated my worth, etc., etc. Deirdre, do you feel that sometimes, has there ever been that experience that you're just this number in this big corporate and they make decisions that affect your life without consulting, etc., etc.?
No, not at all. If anything, Novartis is, I think, the number one company to ever work for. We in oncology, we have a very small team, so everyone's part of the team. I mean, there's a huge trend at Novartis, which the global CEO has actually put out, called #Unboss. So no one really is anyone's boss or manager. Everyone's given the authority to do their jobs to the best of the ability. And never, ever once have I, in my experience of being with this company, ever felt a number, just as a number. So I think, I haven't struggled with that at Novartis. Novartis takes care of their staff, and we don't have very big teams, we have small teams. So our team, oncology team now, is about 10 or 12. And that's from the director to the finance person to just about everybody in that team. So very small teams, very connected, always chatting, always, getting ideas from each other. So yeah, I haven't had that. I don't feel that. Okay. I haven't felt that at Novartis.
Okay. And Annalene, Woolworths, Old Mutual, those big brands?
I think from a personal and from a people perspective, never. I feel like everybody's inclusive, everybody's friendly. But what I will say is, from a decision-making point of view, sometimes you feel like you're just a number, because it takes time for you to build credibility. It takes time for you to build trust, especially coming in as a young person into the organization. And even though you're right, and even though what you're saying, what you're trying to bring across is the best thing, not just only for the organization, but for the customer, which is in my field that I look at, it's not always heard because one, you can either be you're a female, because in IT industry, it's a male-led industry, or that you don't have the power to make that decision. So sometimes in that regard, I feel like you're just a number, or you need to build a lot more credibility and power in order to make those key decisions. But from a person or a people perspective, no.
Okay. So
I really felt included.
I think that's just part of a corporate, right? That you do have decision makers who sit at the top. They get paid a lot more. They have to be accountable for those decisions that they take. Alana, from your side, how do you feel? I mean, your situation is really, really unique in that you are part of this big SAA family, but you're sometimes far away in Hong Kong for 10 days,
I'm sitting thinking, you know what, ladies, sometimes one must, looking back now, much older, but wiser, I think you can actually get lost in the numbers. So, and I think it's important to actually have, because you're replaceable, you see, being part of a big company, there's a long queue of unemployed people waiting to fill your space. And it's true, you can get lost in the number, or the pension number situation that we are in. So, and I think it's important to actually plan for you have a strategy, have a plan, have a short-term, long-term plan. Where do I want to be? Speak to the relevant people. Like, yes, you can get some advice from your colleagues, but speak to relevant people, like in HR. If I maybe want to grow as a person in the company, like at SA, there are many opportunities, but you need to know what you want to do and where you're going to go. Because else you can get lost as a number. It's so big. And you have to actually be responsible, and you have to actually say, you know what, I've got a year break now, but next year I want to study further. Let me do my homework. Let me see where I can go and get the proper information, because you can get lost in a big corporate.
I think you can. I think you can. Let me ask something. So everybody's aiming for this promotion thing. And in corporates, a promotion can take you into so many different directions. In your instance, Deirdre, what would a promotion mean to you? Is it something that you're looking for, or are you happy to just sort of stay where you are because it suits you? What would a promotion mean to you, Deirdre? Besides more money.
For now, for the next 3 years, I've got a daughter who's just, got 3 years to finish her matric. So at Novartis, all of the development, if I have to go, I'm at the highest where I can be now, being based from home and working from home. So for the next 3 years, I'm not looking for any more of a senior position. Definitely more money, yes. And the thing is, apart from my job, we incentivized as well, in addition to, our salary packages. So I can stay right here and determine what my commission or what my salary is going to be every month. And because of Kiara, because of my baby still being in school, for the next 3 years, I'm staying put. But thereafter, and I've made this very clear, I'd be more open and flexible to moving around, because I want to be globally relevant. At Novartis, you have to go and spend some time up at head office for a year or two before you can actually start spreading your wings globally. But the opportunities are there for me, I know. And so in the next 3 years, I'm going to try and work my way where I could just become more globally relevant, should I want to ever, have experiences in other countries.
Okay. Annalene, what does a promotion mean for you?
So actually, I was actually thinking about this, and it's something that I'm actually struggling with. Not with regards to, I think I've worked hard enough so that I said I want to become a senior business analyst, and I became a senior business analyst. I was able to manage a team, and so I've done all the stuff that I've set out to do in a short space of time, that I haven't had the opportunity to think about what am I going to do post that. So that's something that I'm taking time out to actually think about and say, what is next for me? Is it a career change? Is it something different? I'm not sure. It's just something that I'm constantly thinking about, and hopefully I'll come to a decision soon.
Okay. Alana, what does a promotion mean for you in the airline?
At SA, we have different levels, like your cabin crew member, then you have your purser position, and then you also have your senior purser position, which is the obvious, the latter being the most senior one. I'm cabin crew member. I can also act in the purser position. So with the airline, it's completely different, so you have to choose, what do you want to do? Because it's such a lifestyle. So do I want to be then I can choose to do what a domestic roster. So I choose to do just domestics, not fly away, stay at home. Or I can decide to do, I want to travel more international, and then I can either choose, still be a cabin crew member, but maybe not fly too often, then I can do purser. So it also depends on, at the end of the day, it comes both down to money, if you fly international, you go in the currency. So you got to plan where you want to be. At the moment, I'm definitely busy preparing myself mentally for a promotion, and also I just married about 2 years ago. So so all that comes into play, and you've got to change your lifestyle that makes you comfortable. You got to make decisions that make you comfortable. And now being married, hubby would like to see me a bit more often. So yeah, I've got to do what works for me. Promotion is definitely something I'm thinking about. I'm excited. I think it's good for your morale. It's good for you learn, you grow. So yeah, that's the next step. Excited.
Okay. Let me ask us just off the back crazy question. How do you ladies find, without divulging too much of your personal lives on LinkedIn and Facebook and with the rest of our audience, but how do you ladies find that men generally react to women who are in leadership and strong women with strong, good jobs? How do guys respond to you? I'm not talking about husbands and boyfriends and stuff. I'm just talking about just generally, how do guys respond to you? Are they do they admire you for what you've been able to achieve? Do they want to talk to you about your job, or are they expecting you to still pour tea?
No.
Okay, not in your
Well-
case, Alana. You're supposed to pour tea, but I mean, but I'm just trying to figure out how do men respond to strong women in great positions in their in their careers, aspiring to do great things. How do you find them responding to you? Let's start with you, Annalise.
Okay. Okay. I think with me, I feel like men don't generally converse with you when they hear that you're in a senior position or a leadership position, because if they're not in that position, how are they going to brag about it? So then they normally just change. They normally just change the topic or speak about something.
Okay, I think Annalene just froze on us.
Actually,
Yeah.
with regards to the position that you have. So that's my experience.
Okay. Deirdre, your
Yeah.
experience?
I think the environment I'm in, it's men who respect successful women, because I'm dealing with at work. I mean, it's men that are all educated, and they understand how hard a woman had to work to get to where she has to be, and they appreciate and respect that. And then with customers, I mean, I'm dealing with just specialists, on a daily basis, oncologists and hematologists, and I haven't, they all come across, if the men come across as being very respectful and to me. So I haven't actually been, where men look down at a strong woman. If anything, they admire a strong woman.
Brilliant. Alana, from your side?
Yeah, I think it also depends the company. You find yourself in a company where you'll find men who think, oh, flight attendant, aerospace, and then they would tease and maybe say, oh, tea up, coffee or tea or chicken or beef. Yes, true, but I'm the same lady that will be able to save a life, CPR,
Yes.
or mommy that's be delivering a baby. I'll be able to do, because we are trained in aviation medicine. And then you get the company there that may not interested. They want to know more about aviation, and then respect comes in. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. So, just any words of advice to the young lady watching the show who's decided, look, I don't have the stomach for entrepreneurship. I'm not really keen to go into the NGO sector. Academia and research bores me. I want to go and work for a big brand, and I want to work for corporate. What would your words of advice be to that young lady? Alana, we'll start with you.
Okay, I will definitely. What helped me a lot in the 21 years, and that's only saying, a lot of prayer. Plan your life. Very important. Have a short-term plan. Have a long-term plan. Don't be afraid of the word budget. Look at your budget. Be honest with yourself. If you need to change a few things, ask advice, relevant people, find out about your companies, keep a finger on the pulse, know your company, what's happening. Like I say, if you can study further, find out about that. Be positive. If you're not happy in a department or in an environment, speak to the relevant people. You're responsible for your own happiness. Stay.
Oh, we lost her.
Oops, shucks.
Deirdre, what would you sort of?
Yeah. So I believe, if you're not growing, you're dying. So never give up. That's going to be my one advice to a lot of girls out there. Always empower yourself. Do whatever it takes to empower yourself. I got my MBA at the age of 40 with 3 little kids. And I had lots of people in corporate when I decided that I wanted to go back and do my MBA, because I left campus when when I did my honors and had Saskia, my eldest daughter, who's now 23. A lot of people said, you're never going to do it. It's hectic. You're not going to, your marriage is going to suffer. It's called the divorce degree and all of those things. And thank heavens and thank God, I have brilliant parents that supported me and pushed me along, as well as a good husband, that I did do it. I mean, there were times where I thought, no, maybe it's not something I want to register for. Maybe it's something I don't want to do. But you can do it, and if you're young and you're single, it's the best time to do it, because, I mean, I was able to accomplish my academia at 40 with 3 little kids of 10, 6, and 2. So I think anything's possible. And yes, I mean, whether you aspire to own your own business or whether you aspire to go into a large corporate, you need to make yourself relevant. You need to have as much expertise as you can. You need to have whatever prerequisites they require and more, and just not be average. So never settle on, I'm okay where I am. Just keep pushing yourself, keep growing, keep empowering yourself, and make yourself marketable, I would say.
Great.
And that's my advice. Never give up.
Thanks, Deirdre.
For me, is always pray for a great manager when starting a new job.
Yes.
And also, what the one thing that I've learned is that you also have to. People are looking for jobs out there and want to be in corporates or have careers, but sometimes their personality is not a fit for the culture they're entering in. So one of the things that I look at now is look at the environment, look at the culture, see if it's conducive to your personality and to how you would like to work, because you spend majority of your time at work, not actually at home. So you don't want to be at work and then actually be unhappy. And also not to limit yourself. I mean, if you look at my example, I had the potential to go to university. I had the potential to do all of these things, but because I limited myself because of financial constraints or whatever other constraints, I then didn't set out to do it. So I would always say, don't limit yourself. All of those other things, there are solutions for them. Once you're in it, you're able to then navigate and see what the options are. So don't limit yourself.
That's fantastic. I think what we've been able to discuss today has been so important. It's just been such a, I think, interesting discussion. And I know that there's a lot of people who are going to watch the show and either going to, have similar experiences to the ladies to you guys that we've been speaking to. And I know that there's a lot of people who probably are going to be able to add to this discussion through their comments when they watch it. And so I just want to encourage the ladies who are watching the show, please, feel free to add comments. I want to thank all of you very much for participating today. I know Brigitte wants to wrap up. We've taken the time that we said we would take. Thank you for participating. I know it's always unnerving to go into new experiences like this, but thank you for participating and making the time.
Oh, absolutely. From my side also, a huge big thank you to each one of you. Also, another huge big thank you to Prof. Zim, who was able to join us for the beginning of the show. We value her time. We value your time, ladies. And thank you for the amazing gems that you have shared. And we look forward to getting more comments and input from others who have watched the show. If you've watched us live, type #live. And if you're watching us on the replay, type in #replay. And also where you're watching from. It's always great to know. So thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to do good stuff. Let's lift as we rise and inspire each other one conversation at a time. We'll see you back same time next week. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Bye-bye.